Alycats and you viewers. Today is part 1 of my March 2017 favorites. If you're new to the channel and don't know what favorites are, that's seriously just where I list everything I loved in the entertainment industry. I split these videos into 2 parts because I always have way too many favorites. I know I should probably not watch as much stuff, but you know what? I'm gonna watch whatever I want to watch, so shush. We get 2 videos. So let's just get this ball rolling. First off, a book I really thoroughly enjoyed was Illuminae, the first in the series by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I adored this. I really want to read Gemini now. Some of you know I've kind of fallen out of love with the YA genre, and this is categorized as YA science fiction, but if you're an adult and you don't really like YA novels, you can still read Illuminae and enjoy it because it doesn't dumb down the language. It takes place aboard a spaceship, and it's about enemy spaceships trying to target the spaceship and about a virus that's going around on these different spaceships. It's really interesting and fascinating, and also one thing I really love about this book is the way it's formatted, because the whole book is dossiers and poems and emails and just really cool formats and stuff, and it's really easy to read. It makes it super easy and fast and quick to read. It's really enjoyable. I read it in 2 sittings, and like I said, I really want to read the sequel now, but if you're a science fiction fan and you're looking for something fresh and new to read, I definitely recommend Illuminae. Now moving on to the films I've enjoyed this past month. First up is Logan. I filmed a review for this, but it was a fantastic film. Check out my review for my full thoughts, but I loved it. Also, I recently watched Get Out, Moonlight, and Manchester by the Sea, which I actually did another video on. You can hear my thoughts about all 3 of these films in that video, which I'll leave linked up here somewhere and in the description box. But I loved all 3 of these films. I definitely recommend them to you if you like films in those genres. The next film up is one that I'd put off watching for so long, even though I'd heard it was amazing, but that is John Wick, the first John Wick. The only reason I put off watching it for so long was because I hate seeing animals die in films, and this is not a spoiler. But in the beginning of John Wick, some mobsters killed John Wick's puppy, and it's very brutal, and it was very upsetting when I did watch it, but it's such a badass action flick. Keanu Reeves kicks so much ass in this film. He is amazing. This is the best Keanu Reeves has been in such a long time that it's worth that one really sad, brutal scene. I'm kind of kicking myself for waiting so long to see it. But handily enough, now I can see John Wick Chapter 2 since I've seen the first John Wick and know how amazing it is and know how much of a badass Keanu Reeves is as John Wick. It's so good. It is very violent, okay? So if you're one of those people that hates violence, gets turned off by it, this is not the film for you. But if you enjoy brutal, bloody violence with a good backstory and a return to form for Keanu Reeves, definitely check out John Wick if you haven't already. You probably have, because I'm just a weirdo who hates seeing animals die in films. The next 3 films I really enjoyed are all a trilogy, and that's Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. These films star Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy, and are all directed by Richard Linklater. And these films follow 2 people, Jesse and Celine, and they first meet on a train in France in Before Sunrise. And these are films that you're either going to love or hate depending on your taste in films. Like, if you're one of those people that's like, oh my gosh, all they're doing is walking around and talking, this is so boring, nothing's happening, you're going to hate these films, because that's what this is. They literally just walk around and talk in all of these films. But if that's something you enjoy, if you enjoy learning about characters, listening to dialogue, seeing facial expressions and body language change, and learning about the lives of characters, then you'll really enjoy the Before series. I don't know why it took me so long to watch these films, but I adored them. I adored the performances by Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. They have really amazing chemistry. And I like that each of these films are separated by years. It took so long for Richard Linklater to complete this trilogy, so whenever a new film came out, you can see the years that have gone by and see how the actors have aged and how they've matured, and I just love that about this series, and I highly recommend it if you're into this kind of stuff. But like I said, if you think just people walking around and talking is boring, you'll hate these films. Another film that I found really good was Loving. This is the latest film from Jeff Nichols, and Ruth Negga was nominated for Best Actress in a Leading Role for this film, which I might argue about that, but it's still a good performance, okay? I'm just saying. But anyway, Loving focuses on the true story of Richard and Mildred Loving, who were an interracial couple that lived in Virginia, and they got married. And one night, police officers break into their home while they're sleeping and arrest them because they're married, because Richard is white, Mildred is black. And they're arrested just because they love each other. And this film doesn't really document all of the legal proceedings that go on. This focuses more on the relationship of Richard and Mildred, and it focuses on the media firestorm that happened because of what they went through. So if you're looking for something that's going through the court case itself, you're going to be disappointed. But if you're looking for something that is showcasing two people's love story and how the media and fame affected them, then Loving is a film that you'll enjoy. Joel Edgerton and Ruth Negga are both great as the Loving couple, and I was really invested in their stories. I love Jeff Nichols as a director, and he did such a good job portraying the Loving couple and also telling their story. And I do highly recommend it if you like this kind of film. Another film I really enjoyed is Frailty. I watched this because, sadly Bill Paxton died recently, rest in peace. But Frailty is a film that Bill Paxton directed and stars in, and it's about a man who is convinced that God is telling him that he needs to kill demons. So he gets a list of people from angels, he says, and these people are people that live in his town, and he kills them, and his two young children witness this. And the story is told through one of his sons, played by Matthew McConaughey, telling a police officer the story of his father and how he thinks his brother is also a God's hand killer. It's a very interesting concept. It's a brilliant performance by Bill Paxton, and it's such a good film. I did figure out what the story was going to end up as. I still enjoyed the ride, even though I did figure out the plot. But anyway, it's a good story, it's a good film, great performances. I highly recommend it. It's on US Netflix right now, streaming, if you want to see it. So definitely I recommend Frailty. Another film that I really enjoyed, and another Woody Allen film that I really enjoyed, was Midnight in Paris. This stars Owen Wilson, Rachel McAdams, Marion Cotillard, Tom Hiddleston! Sorry, I just love Tom Hiddleston so much. Like, his voice seriously makes my pants tingle. Alison Pill, Adrian Brody. There are so many amazing actors and actresses in this film, and it's about a man played by Owen Wilson who is a writer, and he and his fiancée are visiting her family in France, and every night around midnight he gets transported to the 1920s where he meets people like F. Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald and T.S. Eliot and other iconic figures from that era, and he's in love with this era. He wants to live in the 20s, but he also has to deal with being in the present day. He has to deal with maybe not loving his fiancée as much as he thought he did. And all the performances are great. I love the story. It's such an original concept. It's a beautiful film, beautiful performances. And if you can get past the controversy surrounding Woody Allen and just enjoy his films for how unique they are and how innovative they are, then Midnight in Paris is one of the best of his films I've seen. I haven't seen that many, to be honest. He's made 50 films and I've only seen like 6, so letting you know, but it's a fantastic film in its own right. And the last film I want to mention is Memento. Now, I did figure out how this was going to begin because this film is structured very oddly, okay? I don't know how I figured out how this film was going to begin, okay? But I did, but I still enjoyed it. The structure of Memento is the film begins at the end of the film, so you're watching from the end to the beginning. This stars Guy Pearce as a man named Leonard who is trying to find the man who raped and murdered his wife, and along the way you get the pieces of the puzzle. If your brain is not structured to realize this is a film being told from the end to the beginning, you're going to be like, this is weird, I don't get this, I don't understand this. And even if you go into the film realizing that, it's still going to trip you up some, but it does give you clarity with flashbacks and with just pieces of dialogue that are like, oh, that's where this fits in. And it is a really great film. This is a fantastic performance by Guy Pearce. It's a great directorial effort by Christopher Nolan, and it's a very unique storytelling approach. And I do highly recommend you watch Memento if you haven't seen it already. I won't spoil what the story is, but it's fantastic. Just know that you're going in seeing a movie that starts at the end of the film and then works its way to the beginning. It makes more sense if you know ahead of time that that's how the film is structured. For TV, I have 2 Ryan Murphy projects that I have adored. First up is The People v. OJ Simpson, American Crime Story. Of course, this follows the case of OJ Simpson, but I love that this series focuses on the players behind the scenes. It focuses on Marcia Clark, on Robert Shapiro, Robert Kardashian, Johnny Cochran, and OJ himself is more of a bit player in this series, and he's played wonderfully by Cuba Gooding Jr., but I love the fact that the prosecutors and the attorneys are the main stars of this series. And Sarah Paulson as Marcia Clark is everything. She is fantastic. Phenomenal. So good. I'm so in love with her portrayal of Marcia Clark, and this is such a fantastically done series. It's very respectable of the source material it came from and of the real life case that happened. And in my eyes, it's not biased one way or another. It's very balanced. They never say like, oh, OJ's guilty or OJ's innocent. It's very in between. No one really knows what happens besides OJ Simpson himself, but it's a fantastic series. If you haven't seen it yet, watch it, especially if you're fascinated by the OJ Simpson case. And the second Ryan Murphy production I've really enjoyed so far has been Feud, Betty and Joan. This follows the feud between Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, and it chronicles the making of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, the only film that these 2 women starred in together, but they had a tumultuous history together, and it's so fascinating to see these 2 women and what they put each other through, and they're played terrifically by Susan Sarandon, who plays Betty Davis, and Jessica Lange, who is Joan Crawford. And it's very stylish, very well done. There are other actors in this series. Catherine Zeta-Jones plays Olivia de Havilland. Sarah Paulson is playing Geraldine Page. There are other amazing actors and actresses in this series as well, because every Ryan Murphy series has amazing actors and actresses. But I'm so invested in this, and it's really fascinating to learn what went on behind the scenes of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and to see the feud between Betty and Joan. All the music I loved is in the description box down below, so give the songs a listen and let me know what you think. And as for YouTube, I've really enjoyed the Poptimist's channel. He talks about books, but he talks about books that maybe a lot of people haven't heard about, or they're not really hyped up on BookTube. And he's so knowledgeable. He is very articulated, and he also intersperses his reviews with really funny pop culture gifs, and he's just got such a fantastic channel. That's it for the first part of my March 2017 favorites. Let me know down below what your favorites have been so far this month. Like the video if you liked it, and also share it if you liked it, because it helps the channel grow. And if you're not subscribed already, but you want to be, my face is floating over here. Just click my face and that'll sub you to my channel. Make sure the bell, wherever it's located on your screen, is clicked, because that notifies you every time I upload a new video. And if you'd like to follow me on social media sites, they're all listed down below in the description box. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. You're always, I don't know what that was. You're always my #1 favorite every month. Peace and kisses. Bye.